Hey Carson, happy Tuesday. Hope you had a good long weekend. You inspired me over the weekend. You posted a photo of you flexing and talking about how you had gone 50 straight days working out. Pretty impressive feat. And I'm also training for a marathon. So you and I have been partaking in this Humantic Fitness Challenge, which is like kind of a goal setting exercise where we both have our own goals, fitness goals that we're trying to accomplish by I think it's like the end of March or something like that. So I'd love to learn, like, what are you working on for the Humantic Fitness Challenge? And also, why is this important to you?
Yeah, I love it, Jeff. And look, at 52 for 52 as of this morning.
Oh, there you go.
I don't even honestly, I don't even remember what I put my goal is for that. I believe it was to kind of set a benchmark for my workout record because every year I try to beat my year prior. And I'm fully cognizant that I'm going to reach a point where I can't do it anymore. But for the last 7 years in a row, I've set a personal gym record, and that's my goal again this year. So far, I'm tracking to do that, which is good. But there's a lot of things that can come up. I know your marathon stories, so I want to hear more about that too. But we always prepare. But then we also have to grapple with and pivot amongst the setbacks. In fact, right after I made that post, I thought I was going to have to take my first complete rest day of the year. And I get it. I know you're supposed to rest, and I don't lift every day, and I mix in treadmill and bike and things like that. But for me, like the workout, there's a lot of people that don't want to work out, right? So I try to infuse, kind of like there's a lot of people that don't want to do their job, right? I try to infuse things that I love and that I'm passionate about into what I do that isn't necessarily the thing that I love, right? So there are parts of my job that I don't enjoy. So I infuse what I love, which is prospecting and social selling and creating community and all of those things, training sellers. I infuse that into my job. So I love my job. Same thing with my workout. I love my workout because what I do is I built a home gym in the pandemic. I accumulated a piece of equipment here and there as I felt, there was time and budget to a lot. And, I'll get on the treadmill, I'll lift weights, but I'm also soaking in materials and mediums that inspire me. So I'm also part of this group, Healthy Sales Leader, with my friend Jason Fry. And this is one of the things that, we talk about too. It's like, how can you infuse some of these things that you enjoy? So like this morning, I'm in my gym, I'm doing my thing. I live in a house with a wife and three girls, right? So I don't often get to control the remote or really necessarily pick what I'm watching or listening to. But in that time, that hour and a half every day, I can do whatever I want usually until one of the kids wakes up, and then I got to stop and pivot and tend to that or make sure that there's coffee. But my point is like that's when I'm soaking in stuff. Right now I'm taking in, I got a couple of audiobooks going. The Obstacle is the Way, and also Winning by Tim Grover, who trained Jordan, Kobe, D Wade. It's how do I get my mind right for the day? Frankly, that's also when I carve out my daily non-negotiables. I'll have a pad open on my phone, and I'll start marking down the things that, like, this is what success looks like today, and I will define that. I'll also start thinking about my daily post. Try to make a post every day, something that's sharing a story, sharing something uplifting, inspiring, getting people to think, and then inviting people to answer and building more community. All that stuff starts formulating at that time of day. Plus, I'll watch something. I'm also a big believer in escapism. So, like, I'm a huge James Bond fan. Right now, I'm rereading those novels. And then I'm also a man of faith. So I, listen to a verse of the Bible every morning. So while I'm in my gym. And so those things are very foundational. The reason I set my gym goal, right now I'm trying to just do something every day, is because I know the benefits that it's going to have. I've got what my wife calls Monday Carson. Today's Tuesday. We had a long weekend, so I'm Monday Carson on a Tuesday. But I just feel like I'm firing on all cylinders. I got up early, had intentional time to invest in myself, and I feel right. And there's a mantra a few years back. Microsoft is very, very supportive of movement and physical and mental well-being. And there's a mantra, it's just move. Your move is going to look different than mine. Not everybody wants to do the treadmill, the weights, all those things, but it could be yoga, it could be just getting outside, taking a walk, whatever it is. Figure out what your just move is, and how do you infuse what you love into the time if it's not something that you inherently want to be doing. So that's what's really had a big impact for me. Would love to hear yours, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I love all that stuff. Yeah, you got to have a good like podcast or something while you're doing this. I think you're right. Like it's a great way to like kill two birds with one stone. I've been wanting to read more. I mean, you can obviously like listen to books while you're working out, things like that too. Yeah, my goal for the Humantic Challenge was to do, I think it was to train up to 21 miles in my marathon training with 8-minute splits or less. And the reason I set that goal is because my goal for the marathon is to run it in under 3.5 hours. And if you do the math, that comes out to about an 8-minute mile for the full. And so I'm figuring if I can train up to 21 at that pace, I'll be able to do it for the full. And the reason it kind of matters to me, I guess, is because this is my third time running the marathon. The first time I ran it actually a couple of years ago. I probably didn't train as well as I could have. It was my first time doing it. Boston's also just a really tough course. It's got what's called Heartbreak Hill, which is pretty brutal to, kind of like between miles 17 and 21. And I got this condition called rhabdomyolysis actually in mile 11 of the race. Presents itself as really intense muscle spasms. You could actually see my calf muscles spasming like spectators and things like that. It's a potentially life-threatening condition. I didn't know that at the time. I thought I was just dehydrated, and I kind of like willed myself to the finish line. But you can imagine, like mentally, having only done 11 miles and having 15 to go, and having this issue, wondering like, wow, this is. Let's put it this way: it was one of the worst experiences of my life. But I ended up finishing in like 4.5 hours. Was real, much slower than what I was hoping for. Last year, I was on pace to hit this goal of mine, and unfortunately, I caught COVID like 3 days before the marathon, and it was not a mild. It was not a mild case. I was pretty sick. So last year I ran it in under 4 hours. I improved my time, but I was obviously very fatigued, trying to recover from illness. And this time around, I'm kind of saying like, look, I've tried to do this a couple of times. I don't know if I earned it the first time. I think I earned it the second time, and I sure as hell I'm going to do whatever I can to earn it now, right? So that's my goal. It's like I want to hit this goal. It's completely arbitrary, but the reason it matters is like we're always trying to prove things to ourselves, and we're always trying to one up ourselves and show ourselves what we're capable of doing. I'm not going to prove a point to anybody if I run it in under 3.5 hours. There's people who run it under 3 hours. There's people who run it under 2.5 hours. I've already accepted that I'm never going to be the fastest. There's always going to be people better than me. I'm not competing with those people. I'm competing with myself. So this is a goal that I want for myself, and it's important to me to do it. I know I've trained, I've earned it. This time around, I'm the best training I've ever done. This past weekend, I ran 20 miles at right over that 8-minute split on a treadmill, and I'm actually a lot faster when I do it on land. So I was very encouraged by that. That's kind of exactly where I need to be. I'm going to be running the 21 coming up soon, and I'm going to try to get it in under 8-minute miles. And that'll, again, we talk about kind of doing the little things that lead to the big thing. If I accomplish this goal of hitting the 21 in under 8 minutes, it's not the end goal, but it's a mini goal that I've set for myself. I know if I can do that goal at this amount at this time, that I'll be able to hit my bigger goal, right? And that's why it's important that you set these benchmarks along the way, kind of like you're doing every year. You want to keep breaking your record, right? And that requires like every single day. You didn't break the record, but it's the sum of the parts, that gets you there every single time. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and what I'm working on. I guess question is going to be when are you going to join me and do a marathon together?
I don't think my knees can take it, Jeff. I'm an old man, so I don't know. I don't know that I have an aspiration for that. And that's why I kind of go back to the whole, everybody's just move looks different. For me, and I think everybody's got to define their win. Like, what is my definition of being better than I was? And, don't get me wrong. I'd love to have the bumper sticker that said I ran the full marathon. But at the same time, like if I could do a half, I'd probably be good with that. So let's talk about a half first for me.
All right.
But I love all the life metaphors within what we've described today because what you're describing, like coming to the table, your prep, right? there's a lot of things that are unforeseen, and you're, grappling with, my gosh, something that's life threatening, in the midst of a race, and like you're willing yourself to the win. I mean, how many times can we apply that in other areas of our lives? And I feel like if we do that in a sporting or an athletic way, or wherever other people do that. I mean, look, a lot of people don't have aspirations to do anything from a health perspective per se to what we're describing, but they may have a different way of looking at it. They may have a routine that they've developed, might be spending, an hour in nature every day. And I applaud you. Like, find those things that you can kind of bask in, that make you better in mind and body so that you can bring your best self to all the relationships that matter. For some of you, that's mostly personal. For some of you, that's personal, career. For some of you, it's all career. Maybe you don't have a family and things of that nature. So that's why I love all the metaphors for this. And, everybody's definition of winning or success is scattered into a lot of different portfolios. And you've hit on one that's super important today because, your physical health, that's the thing that's going to determine how you feel every day when you approach your challenges, your struggles. It's going to approach how you think from a mindset perspective, and ultimately, it's going to force you to continue to try to be better and better.
Now, here's the thing: if you keep going, you're going to make it a lot harder to break your record next year.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm aware of that.
something to be mindful of.
I get
What's
I get like a hundred some odd rest days this year, and I can still break my record. So
okay.
I haven't taken one yet.
All right. All right. Cool. Well, I love it. I hope I'm gonna keep my eyes on your goals on LinkedIn. Um, and yeah, it's great to learn from you today.
Likewise, Jeff. I always love hearing your stories about the marathons. Kudos to you. Hats off. I know the amount of discipline and perseverance it takes to achieve that goal. And I encourage everybody watching, think about what fuels you, what lights your fire, and spend more time doing it.
Awesome. Thanks, Carson.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jeff.